this is one of these consequences of this escalation and this state of war that we are in. Having a foresight and being able to look at what the consequences are of going to war with Iran, I think, is a serious thing he and his administration have not looked at.
Okay, foreign policy now squarely in the forefront of the presidential race. More Democrats tonight suggesting that the president is somehow complicit in the deaths of 176 innocent people who went down in that Ukrainian Airlines jetliner. Iran just moments ago admitting that they unintentionally did shoot down that plane. So let's bring in Democratic presidential candidate Tom Steyer. 2 Fox News polls this week, putting him over the top and getting him onto the debate stage next week. Congrats on that, sir, and thanks for coming back.
Shannon, it's great to be with you.
Okay, so knowing what we do know about the Qasem Soleimani strike, about the threats, what would you have done as commander-in-chief?
You mean in terms of Soleimani?
If you had the intel, if you had the option, what would you have done?
Well, let me say this, Shannon. There was a claim by the president of an imminent threat to Americans and to American lives. I haven't seen the evidence to show that that's true. And what
let me start, though, because you know this traces back a few days back. There were a series of events that happened, but an American was killed by a strike that came in. So he had said that that was a red line for him. And we know that Soleimani is tied to hundreds of American deaths on the battlefront as well.
Shannon, no one is mourning the death of Soleimani in the sense of feeling as if he was someone who was an ally or in any way, shape, or form was anything but an antagonist and hostile to America and had been caused great damage to Americans and hundreds of American lives. The question in this case is not about what kind of person was he or what was his relationship to the United States. The question is, strategically, what were we trying to do? And I would take you back before we got there to Soleimani, before we got there, and go back to what President Obama did, which was to, together with our allies, push Iran to give up its nuclear ambitions and to make the region and the world safer for Americans. And what Mr. Trump did, which was to withdraw unilaterally from that treaty and then to begin a series of escalations of verbiage and language and actions against Iran. So my question starts, you don't start with Soleimani. You start with a different question.
Well, you do come into an administration.
What is the strategy? Right. What is the strategy to actually protect American lives, to support American interests in the region, and with our allies to promote a safer, more democratic, more freedom-loving world for us and everybody else? That's actually the question you should ask.
You do come into an administration with everything that's built up to the years before you were in that chair and before you were there as commander-in-chief. But are you saying in that moment with the intel that you had, and tonight the president said that there were 4 embassies that were potentially under threat, immediate threat from Soleimani, are you saying you would not have taken the shot?
No, I'm saying something different, Shannon.
Okay.
I'm saying that President Trump has said there was imminent danger. And what I tweeted out after this is exactly why the president always has to tell the truth. This is why the president always has to take the high road. This is why the president has to have a position of trust, absolute, unequivocal, never broken with the American people, so that when the chips are down and you have to make a decision like this, what you're saying is you don't really have a choice. That's the import of the question.
No, I'm just asking what you would have done.
And I'm answering your question, and that's this. If Mr. Trump is telling the truth and there was danger to American lives and we were protecting American lives, that's the job of the commander-in-chief. No question, I agree with you. But I'm making a different point, which is this. This is a president who the Washington Post has counted as lying to Americans 15,000 times.
Do you think he would be lying about the threat here, though? Is that what you're saying, that he could be possibly lying about the embassy threats?
Shannon, that's the problem we have, and that's what I started by saying is, you have an obligation as President of the United States 100% of the time to tell the truth to the American people, so that when you and I'm giving you absolute credit on this, just so you know, that you want what's best for the American people. And trust me, I do too. And we should never be asking each other under this circumstance, is the president, in a matter of life and death, lying to the American people? We should never be in that situation. I understand your point, which is, Tom, if there's an imminent threat to the American people, the job of the commander-in-chief is to protect American lives first and foremost. And I agree with you. I agree with you.
Okay.
But you've got to listen to me, which is we need a president who's strategic, who's honorable every single time, and who never, ever lies to the American people, so that when the chips are down and he says yes, the answer is yes, and we all know it's yes.
Okay, listen, there are a ton of things I'd like to talk to you about. I hope you'll come back. I know you'll be on the debate stage next week, and this is obviously going to be one of the top topics I would imagine that you all are going to talk about. We may see you out there on the road. We'll see you in Iowa, and we thank you for your time always.
Shannon, it is great to be with you. It really is. It's nice to hear your voice and see you.
See you soon.